Today's story is being shared in memory of Nika Bat Eyal, a very special young woman who passed away a little more than a week ago, who was a very good friend, and that's something very special, and all who knew her testified to the steadfastness of her friendship. Tehi nishmata tzura b'tzorah chaim. Welcome back to Medrash Masei, sharing a story for this week's Parsha, Parshas Masei, in Eretz Yisrael, which in Chutz La'aretz is Matos Masei. So we meet up once again this week. It was a beautiful story that I saw about Rabbi Yaakov Kaminetsky Zatzal, one of the biographies years ago. It was a story about a friend of his who had learned with him in the Slobodka Yeshiva in Europe and also managed to make his way to America. This friend was a Rav in Connecticut, and unfortunately his wife passed away. Rabbi Yaakov heard through the grapevine that his friend wasn't doing well, that he was down, depressed. Rabbi Yaakov packed a suitcase, traveled to Connecticut, showed up on his friend's doorstep, and he said, "I'm sorry for coming so suddenly. I was under a lot of pressure in New York. I needed to get away someplace quiet where I could just have time to be with a good friend and talk." So that's a beautiful story, a very elegant and sensitive way of trying to help his friend in the best possible way. The reason it came to my mind this week is because it so beautifully illustrates a parish on this week's Parsha from the Pnei Menachem, the previous Rebbe, Pinchas Menachem Alter Zatzal. He brings from Maseches Makos that Talmid Shegola, if a Talmid had to go into exile to an Ir Miklot, Megalin Rabo Imo, that his Rebbe has to go into Golus together with his Talmid. Why? Because the Pasuk says that when the person goes exiled into the Ir Miklot, V'chai, he has to live there with all the terms and necessities that really mean living. Ki hechi denechi, we are obligated to make sure he has everything he needs to be able to live there fully. Therefore, we obligate his Rebbe to go with him. The Pnei Menachem asked, we find such a relationship not just with a Rebbe, but also with a friend. In the Gemara, Rava says, O chavrusa o misusa, either having a chavrusa or death. The lack of that good, close friend, and in this terminology, chavrusa doesn't just mean a study partner, but it means a true friend and partner. If you don't have that, you're also missing out a major aspect of life. Why, asked the Pnei Menachem, don't we obligate the person's friend to go into Golus and join his friend who killed accidentally and has to go into the Ir Miklot? Answers the Pnei Menachem, if the friend has to be commanded to go to join his friend in that situation and help him when he got sent into exile, that's not a true friend. He says, if that's the only reason that friend is coming, this person who went into exile has to find a different friend. A true friend will know and want to come of his own volition to be with his friend in a time of trouble. These weeks, the Bein HaMetzarim, are, so to speak, a time of trouble for all of us. All of us are in Golus, and therefore we all have to be friends for each other. Not simply to look at what we have to do to our fellow man as an obligation, but to proactively see what we can do to raise the spirits of each other during the Golus that we've been going through. And hopefully if we do that, we'll reverse the damage of Sinas Chinom that existed in the second Beis HaMikdash times, and with the Ava and Achva and Shalom V'Reus that we will build, we'll be zocheh to see the Beis HaMikdash rebuilt B'mhera V'yameinu. Everyone have a wonderful Shabbos. Kol Tov.